Good morning. Welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Tuesday, January the 7th, and we're here to look at the new releases that have been published this week. And on Tuesdays, we look at mysteries and thrillers, the darker side. Quick announcements. I do have sprints tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. They go for 2.5 hours. I do those every Tuesday and Thursday evening and Saturday afternoons. Let us jump in. First up, Fiona Davis. She does very interesting standalones, usually with a historical angle to it. Good morning, Kim. How you doing? This is called The Stolen Queen. Looks like a dual timeline. Egypt, 1936. When anthropology student Charlotte Cross is offered a coveted spot on an archaeological dig in Egypt's Valley of the Kings, she leaps at the opportunity. That is until an unbearable tragedy strikes. New York, 1978. 19-year-old Annie Jenkins is thrilled when she lands an opportunity to work for former Vogue fashion editor Diana Vreeland, who is in the midst of organizing the famous Met Gala, hosted at the museum and known across the city as the Party of the Year. Meanwhile, Charlotte is now leading a quiet life as the associate curator of the Met's celebrated Department of Egyptian Art. She's consumed by her research on Hatharkare, a rare female pharaoh dismissed by most other Egyptologists as unimportant. The night of the gala, one of the Egyptian art collection's most valuable artifacts goes missing, and there are signs Hatharkare's legendary curse might be reawakening. Annie and Charlotte team up to search for the missing antiquity, and a desperate hunch leads the unlikely duo to one place Charlotte swore she'd never return, Egypt. But if they have any hope of finding the artifact, Charlotte will need to confront the demons of her past, which may mean leading them both directly into danger. Good afternoon, Helen. How's it going over there? Okay, going back to sleep after this. I wish I could. I definitely could use more sleep. Sleep is good. Alifair Burke has a new one. She's kind of specializing in standalones as well. This is called The Note. It was meant to be a harmless prank. Growing up, May Hanover was a good girl, always well-behaved, top of her class, a compulsive rule follower. Raised by a first-generation Chinese single mother with high expectations, May didn't have room to slip up, let alone fail. Her friends didn't call her the little sheriff for nothing. But even good girls have secrets and regrets. When it comes to her friendship with Lauren and Kelsey, she's had her fair share of both. Their bond, forged when May was just 12 years old, has withstood a tragic accident, individual scandals, heartbreak, and loss. Now the three friends have reunited for the first time in years for a few days of sun and fun in the Hamptons, but a chance encounter with a pair of strangers leads to a drunken prank that goes horribly awry. When she finds herself at the center of an urgent police investigation, May begins to wonder whether Lauren and Kelsey are keeping secrets from her, testing the limits of her loyalty to lifelong friends. What had they gone and done? Gone and done. Gone and done. That was very awkward. Sorry about that. James Patterson Company has a new one with Brian Sitz, second in the Holmes, Margaret, and Poe series. It's snowy? Oh! You know, initially it looks pretty, and then the reality hits with snow. Holmes is missing. Success has come quickly to Holmes, Marple, and Poe investigations, the New York City agency led by three detectives, Brendan Holmes, the brain, Margaret Marple, the eyes, and Auguste Poe, the muscle, with famous names and mysterious pasts, is one major case away from cementing its professional reputation. But as a series of child abductions test the PI's legendary skills, the cerebral Holmes's absence leaves a gaping hole in the agency roster. Only by closing ranks and solving the mystery within can they recover all that's been lost. As much as you want to say about James Patterson and any associations, he tells a good story. He knows how to tell a good story to get you hooked. Adrian Young has a new one. The Sea of Unspoken Things. James and Johnny Golden were once inseparable. For as long as she can remember, James shared an almost supernatural connection with her twin brother Johnny that went beyond intuition. She could feel what he was feeling. So when Johnny is killed in a tragic accident, James knows before her phone even rings that her brother is gone and that she's alone, truly alone, for the first time in her life. When James arrives in the secluded town of Six Rivers, California to settle her brother's affairs, she's forced to revisit the ominous events of their shared past and finally face Micah, the only other person who knows their secrets and the only man she has ever loved. But as James delves deeper into Johnny's world, she realizes that the unique connection hasn't completely vanished. The more she immerses herself in his life, the more questions she has about the brother she thought she knew. Johnny was hiding something, and he's not the only one. The deeper she digs, the more she is compelled to unravel the truth behind the days leading up to Johnny's death. Ultimately, James must decide which truth should come to light and which are better left buried forever. End of row one. Jane Ann Krentz has a new one. I did check. Shattering Dawn, third in the Lost Night Files. Amelia Rivers, a member of the Last Night Files podcast team, hires private investigator Gideon Sweetwater to catch the stalker who has been watching her. Amelia suspects the stalker may be connected to the shadowy organization responsible for the night that she and her two friends lost to amnesia, a night that upended their lives and left them with paranormal talents. Gideon suspects that Amelia is either paranoid or an outright con artist, but he can't resist the chemistry between them. He takes the case despite his skepticism. For her part, Amelia has second thoughts about the wisdom of employing the mysterious Mr. Sweetwater. She is wary of the powerful attraction between them and deeply uneasy about the nightmarish paintings on the walls of his home. She senses they were inspired by his own dreamscapes. Amelia knows she doesn't have time to find another investigator, and Gideon is forced to reckon with the truth when he disrupts what was intended to be Amelia's kidnapping. Now the pair is on the run with no choice but to return to the haunting ruins of the old hotel where Amelia's lost night occurred. They are desperate to stop a killer and the people who are conducting illegal experiments with a dangerous drug that is designed to enhance psychic abilities. If they are to survive, they will have to trust each other and the passion that bonds them. Allison Brennan has a new one. Sixth in the Quinn and Costa thrillers. See How They Hide. No matter how far you run, some paths never let you go. Two people were murdered at the exact same time, in the same gruesome manner, bodies covered in the same red poppies, but on opposite sides of the country. With Detective Kara Quinn investigating in Oregon and Special Agent Matt Costa in Virginia, the mobile response team digs deep to uncover more about each victim. What is the link between the two, and why were they targeted? Yet their search unearths more questions than answers until they meet Riley Pierce, the only person still alive who might be able to help them find the killers. Soon it becomes clear this case is nothing like they've seen before, as their investigation leads them to the hallowed grounds of Havenwood, an eerily beautiful place rooted in a terrifying past. As more bodies turn up, all ties to the same community, Kara and Matt are desperate to piece the puzzle together before Havenwood's leader sacrifices everything to keep her secrets buried. Lots of information there. David Hodges. Shadows on the Levels. 14th in the Detective Kate Hamlin series. 5 Old Friends, One Guilty Secret, a crime that won't stay buried. Detective Kate and her husband Hayden are hoping to ease in gently after a year-long sabbatical. But on Kate's first day back in the job, she's called out to Pagan's Clump, an isolated, eerie spot on the Somerset levels. Human remains have been discovered. Kate races to the scene, only to discover the bones have been there for many years. This cold case is going nowhere. Then Kate's called out to a break-in at best-selling novelist Lizzie Johnson's stunning country home. Another false alarm. Lizzie contacts the police with wild tales of a nightmarish face at her window. Now she thinks she was mistaken. 2 days later, Lizzie Johnson is dead. An accidental overdose, it would appear. Kate is not convinced. She doesn't believe in ghosts and ghouls, but the dead woman was clearly terrified of something. Then Kate uncovers a link between Lizzie Johnson and the bones at Pagan's Clump, and the case takes a shocking twist. How to sleep at night. This is something we would all like to know. Drinking problem. This is by Elizabeth Harris. Lots of blurbage. Meet Ethan and Gabe, a devoted couple for years. They have successful careers, an adorable daughter, and a house in the New Jersey suburbs. Sure, they may have drifted to different ends of the political spectrum, but their marriage still has its spark. Then one night, Ethan makes an announcement. He wants to run for Congress as a Republican, but only if he has progressive Gabe's blessing. For weeks, a slightly queasy Gabe struggles between supporting his husband and maintaining his own lefty ideals. He can feel himself slowly pulled under the tide of Ethan's ambitions, even as he becomes widely known as a conservative spouse. The horror. In a nearby town, suburban mom Nicole wonders what happened to her younger self, living in New York City, freely dating men and women, and on a path to a career in the art world. Nicole feels like an accessory in her husband's life, and like she's given up on the goals she had for herself. Then an old flame re-enters her life unexpectedly. That woman is Ethan's sister's Kate. A political reporter at a major newspaper, Kate has reached the top of her profession, but the adrenaline rush of chasing a story has lost its thrill. When Nicole, the one who broke her heart, slides into her DMs just as her brother starts his controversial congressional run, Kate's life is thrown into a tailspin that threatens to derail the success she's worked so hard to achieve. Oops, I hadn't clicked on it. There you go. End of row 2. They All Fall the Same by Wes Brown. An organized crime boss in Kentucky believes money and power are everything until his enterprise collides with a family tragedy. Cannabis kingpin Burl Spoon has reigned over the Jackson County area for 3 decades, building a powerful backwoods empire. But behind a well-run organization, his personal life is crumbling. His daughter can't stay clean. His son has hated him since coming out. And after enduring years of infidelity, his wife is straying too. The only person not on his payroll who still adores him is his 6-year-old granddaughter, Chelsea. When his daughter overdoses on heroin laced with fentanyl, and one of his employees is murdered, Burl's retaliation against Clovis Begley, the patriarch of the heroin-dealing family involved in both deaths, is inevitable. As Burl's plan spirals into a firestorm of vengeance that threatens the safety of his granddaughter, his drive for vengeance conflicts with his longing for redemption. On the brink of losing everything, Burl must find a path between retribution and protecting what's left of his family. Oh, whatever happened to a good old murder? The Perfect Home by Daniel Kennitz. Dawn Decker is an American everywoman and the salt to her husband Wyatt's sweet, media-friendly charm on their Tennessee-based home renovation reality TV show, The Perfect Home. While Dawn bristles at the trappings of their D-list celebrity status, Wyatt hungers for greater fame. The couple also faces infertility issues stemming from Wyatt's low sperm count. He secretly orders experimental fertility drugs, and they conceive, but his personality takes a dark turn. He becomes moody, withdrawn, and even cruel. See, don't mess with stuff like that. When Dawn discovers there's adoption. When Dawn discovers his horrifying plot to manufacture a tragedy in order to skyrocket their celebrity status, she takes their infant twins and goes on the run. Wyatt appears on national television to turn the public against her, painting Dawn as an unstable kidnapper suffering from postpartum psychosis. His charm is so compelling that even Dawn's closest friends doubt her. She will have to dig deep into the past, both hers and Wyatt's, to find allies, protect her children, and beat this beloved all-American celebrity at his own game. Again, whatever happened to good old-fashioned murder? The naming of the birds. More and more reasons I prefer cozies. I just like, solving the crime. Let's have a procedural. This is by Peric O'Donnell. Something is troubling Inspector Henry Cutter. Sergeant Gideon Bliss is accustomed to his ill-tempered outbursts, but lately the inspector has grown silent and withdrawn. Then the murders begin. The first to die is the elderly Sir Aneurin Considine, a decorated but obscure civil servant who long ago retired to tend his orchids. If the motive for his killing is a mystery, the manner of his death is more bewildering still. The victims that follow suffer similar fates, their deaths gruesome but immaculately orchestrated. The murderer comes and goes like a ghost, leaving only carefully considered traces. As the hunt for this implacable adversary mounts, the inspector's gloom deepens, and to Sergeant Bliss, his methods seem as mystifying as the crimes themselves. Why is he digging through dusty archives while the murderer stalks further victims? And as hints of past wrongdoing emerge, and with them the faint promise of a motive, why does Cutter seem haunted by some long-ago failing of his own? To find the answers, the meek and hapless sergeant must step out of the inspector's shadow. Aided by Octavia Hillingdon, a steely and resourceful journalist, Bliss will uncover truths that test his deepest beliefs. Malma Station by Alex Schulman. On board the train to Malma Station are a married couple in crisis, a single dad and his young daughter, and a woman searching for the answer to a mystery her mother left behind. The enigmatic drinking game. Harriet, the controlling Oscar, and the searching Yana, each of these characters carries within them the scars of what has come before. Malma Station traces the crooked lines of family and history and shows how memories morph to take new shape, postulating that perhaps the past is actually what we can change rather than the future. The narrative builds like a train hurtling through time, each chapter a separate car hooking into the next. Why is this a crime? Novel about family secrets and injustices passed on through generations, and a suspenseful hunt for a truth with the power to change everything. End of that row. Leave No Trace by Joe Callahan, second in the Cat and Lock series. When the body of a man is found crucified at the top of a hill in the British Midlands, AIDE Locke, the world's first AI detective, and Detective Cat Frank are thrust into the spotlight as they are given their first live case. When a second body is found, the police issue an extraordinary warning to local males aged between 30 and 40 years old. Avoid drinking in pubs. If you insist on going to a pub, do not leave alone, and definitely do not leave a pub with a stranger. With the national media and the local men in an uproar, Cat and Locke have to combine their instincts and algorithms to catch the killer before they can strike again. Don't know if I like that concept or not. I kind of do. but I really don't like the AI thing. River of Lies by James Lipwall. First in the Detective Emily Hunter series. The homeless camps spread throughout the city of Sacramento are a topic of heated debate among residents. They are considered undesirable, a nuisance, an eyesore. But when the camps fall victim to a string of devastating arson attacks, Detective Emily Hunter and her partner Javier Medina dive into the investigation and become acquainted with the real people whose lives have been destroyed. The attacks only begin to draw attention when two of the victims are identified as the city's former anti-homeless mayor and a camp social worker, but rather than strengthening the push for justice, the movement to completely abolish the camps intensifies. The investigation becomes politically charged when Emily discovers who stands to gain from burning the homeless out of the shelters. She struggles to balance the high-stakes investigation with caring for her Alzheimer's-stricken mother, whose condition is rapidly deteriorating. The investigation uncovers an unlikely suspect and a reluctant witness standing between Emily and the shocking truth. Can Emily overcome resistance and her personal obstacles to halt the attacks? The Songbird by Stacy Lynn Miller, first in the Hattie James series. In the glamorous world of 1940s New York, Hattie James is a rising star, enchanting audiences at the iconic Copacabana Club. But her glittering life is shattered by a shocking phone call. Her father, a respected diplomat, has been arrested for espionage, accused of aiding Nazi Germany. As her world crumbles, Hattie is plunged into a whirlwind of danger and deceit. Following her father's dramatic escape and alleged betrayal, Hattie is coerced by the FBI to aid their hunt. Her mission: infiltrate Rio de Janeiro's high society and uncover the truth about her father's loyalties. In the sultry heat of Rio, Hattie poses undercover as a singer at the Halo Club, owned by enigmatic drinking game Maya Reyes. Each performance at this vibrant hotspot brings her closer to the dark secrets entangling the city, and every note she sings could lead to her father or to a trap set by those who wish to silence her. When Maya's sister suddenly goes missing, Hattie unearths a shocking connection between her father and the mysterious SS leader Heinz Baumann. With stakes higher than ever, Hattie finds herself thrust even deeper into a dangerous undercover operation that threatens to put more than just her own life at risk. Very interesting. And that is all we have time for today. There was just one left. We might be able to pick that up on Friday. Alrighty, guys. That is it for Mysteries and Thrillers. Tomorrow we'll be looking at romance. And Kim says, have a great day, y'all. See you tonight. Indeed. We do have sprints tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. They go for 2.5 hours. I get here as quickly as I can after work. 8 p.m. Eastern is 6 o'clock my time. And the roads are snowy, so I get here as quickly as I can. Hope you guys have a good day. Read good books. Kim, have a good sleep. And I will see you soon. And as the banner says, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Have a good day and God bless.